Hi, my name is Jennifer Nagel. I teach philosophy at the University of Toronto, and today I want to talk to you about the development of mind reading. Most adults are good at mind reading. We can detect what others are aiming at, what they can see, and roughly how they're feeling. We can even pick up on subtle social moves like sarcasm, where a person expresses something opposed to the literal meaning of their words. Mind reading is easily taken for granted, although when we reflect on it, we realize that it involves a complex set of skills. We can learn something about that skill set by looking at how it develops over time. Human babies are not born knowing what others can see. But by 2 months of age, when babies are shown a picture of a face, they look more at the eyes than other regions. And by 4 months, babies prefer looking at eyes that are looking right back at them. By 9 months, babies follow when an adult turns her head as if to look at something. The baby orients towards whatever the adult is turning to. But 9-month babies have only a crude form of gaze following, because they will follow head turned towards distant objects even when the adult's eyes are shut. Babies learn the difference around 10 to 11 months of age, now following gaze to a distant object only when the adult who's turning her head towards something has her eyes open. These developments are vital for joint attention, in which you and another person not only focus on the same object, but do so in the awareness that the other is also looking at it, checking back with them to see where they're looking. This capacity develops over time, with babies first following other agents' bids for joint attention as early as 8 months, and then learning to launch their own bids for joint attention by 10 to 12 months, for example, by pointing while looking at an object. As babies are gaining a better understanding of what others can see, they're also gaining a better understanding of what others want. By the 1-year mark, babies understand agents as having goals, expecting them to take the most direct path towards the thing that they want, even if in the past these agents took a different path, for example, because something was previously blocking their way. Researchers test this with a violation of expectancy paradigm, taking advantage of the fact that we look longer at unexpected events. If babies have been watching an animated agent perform a hopping motion to get over a barrier towards a goal, then when the barrier is removed, they're more surprised to see that hopping motion continue than to see the agent move straight through, now towards the target. So, 1-year-old babies don't just expect to see the same surface patterns of movement from agents. They expect agents to move in a way that makes sense given some goal. It's not clear that babies at this age can already understand inner states like desires the way we do. It's been argued that they just have some more primitive sense of how things should turn out. So they couldn't, for example, think flexibly about agents who have different goals. By 18 months, however, toddlers can see others as having preferences different from their own, expecting, for example, that a person who's been seen to prefer carrots over cookies will choose a carrot at snack time, even if that's not the toddler's own preference. Tracking what others know and believe is harder than tracking what people can see, because states of knowledge and belief are formed over extended periods of time. To figure out what you believe, it's not enough to know what you're looking at right now. I also need to remember what you've seen in the past. If I'm curious about what you do and don't know, I'm just looking at the history of your relationship to reality and figuring out what parts of it are open or blocked for you. Figuring out what you believe is even harder because I also need to keep track of contents that can be different from the way the world is now. Unlike knowledge, belief can diverge radically from reality. It's not clear exactly when children understand belief. By the age of 5, most children can watch an agent being tricked and accurately report what this person will do as a result of their false belief. But there are signs that children understand something about false beliefs earlier. By their 3rd birthday, children look in the right direction when they anticipate the action of someone with a false belief. Some researchers have reported substantially earlier implicit signs of false belief comprehension, but those signs are hard to interpret, and this research is controversial. Some researchers, the minimalists, argue that infants have a simpler system that just tracks constellations of agents and objects in a limited way until our full-blown belief detection system launches in the 4th year of life. Other researchers, the mentalists, think mental state understanding is innate or very early developing, but not fully visible in early development because of independent limits in following complex sequences of events and answering tricky questions. One of the last milestones in development is the hidden emotion test. Imagine that someone Billy likes has given him a present he hates. By the age of about 7, children expect that Billy will pretend to be happy. But before that age, the notion that someone might deliberately fake an emotion is hard to grasp. There's something complex about hidden emotions. To make sense of this split between how someone feels inside and how they look on the outside, we need to understand that the agents we are mind reading are themselves also mind readers who care what others will think of them. Even as adults, we sometimes have childlike tendencies in our mind reading. For example, kids find it hard to grasp the perspective of those who know less than they do about a scene. Especially when we're busy and distracted, adults can also be biased towards unreasonably expecting others to share their perspective. Studying the development of our mind-reading capacity can give us a sharper view of its limits. The next video in this series explores some different theories of how mind reading works.